He told me he was going to meet up Sarah. She found his money, and they were going to count it together. He was going to choke her out, bring her to the bridge, throw her off. And Preston was going to drive the escape vehicle, and they were going to bury the money and leave the keys and the ignition and make it look like she killed herself.
Okay.
Exhibit C2 that's going to be played shortly is the January 31st, 2017 consensual recording between Liam McAtazzi and Anthony Curry.
Alright, so I'm hanging out with her. She has, we went to the bank, she took some money out, not all of her money. We're counting it out, and then she goes to walk out the front door. I choke her out, drag her. My biggest problem was the dog, and her dog laid there and watched as I killed her. Didn't do anything.
Nobody was there?
No, nobody was there. Even her dad wasn't there. He was in Florida.
Yeah, you said that he was
Yeah.
there.
So, I have to leave. I fucking dropped my phone at Sarah's house. My phone was at Sarah's house. Like,
Wait, you left your phone?
yeah, I lost it and I couldn't find it. I had to go to work. I had timed everything out so that...
Why did you take your phone? You should have left it in your fucking pocket.
Dude,
What were you doing?
strangling someone. I choke her out, drag her into the back, put her in the bathroom, and then I had to go straight to work. So Preston came over, took the body, put it in the bushes, and then I was at work. I had a full, night of work, except I left work a couple times, which looks sketchy. I look for my phone though, which is a reasonable, thing to do.
Yeah, you gotta look for your phone. Yeah, you can't.
Which is kind of, me losing my phone is kind of a good thing, because the cops are like, oh, he's hanging out with her, he lost his phone, he's going back and forth between his house looking for it. And then, I get off work that night, go straight over, Preston and I go over to her house, take her safe, bring that over to my house before we do anything. And we take her body out of the bushes and drag it over to her back fence, and I crawl, get into her car, and I back up. There's a security camera across the street, so I had to act like her. I watched her every time she backed out. She does the same thing, so I backed out exactly like she did and drove off.
Put her in the trunk.
Nah, put her in the passenger seat of her own car. And then Preston and I had these walkie-talkies to communicate with. We just used them again. So I was driving, and I had her buckled in the passenger
So
seat.
she looks like she's just sleeping.
She's just sitting up. And my plan was, for me, I underestimated my own strength and how much a dead body would weigh. Because...
It's weight?
Yeah. I got up on top of the bridge to throw her off. My plan was I was going to throw her off, run over, jump over the divider, and get into Preston's car. And I go up, open the door, unhook her, pull her out, start dragging her to throw her over, and then cars start coming up. I see headlights coming. I try to get her over, and I can't fuck my leg up. The weight from her body, made me fall, and my leg, went up. So now I'm limping, my leg's fucked up, and there's 3 cars coming up. So I grab her body. Dude, I had superhuman strength, and I threw it in the car, and I fucking picked it up, and her feet were up here, and her head was down there, and 3 cars go by. And I'm fucking losing my shit, because that easily could have been a cop.
Yeah.
And then...
the police station is right there.
Yeah. And then Preston comes over the bridge, goes around, makes a U-turn, comes up behind me. The 2 of us throw the body over, and then we're out. This is the thing about, heists. There's so much shit that you can't account for.
You don't know.
Yeah. You don't...
Welcome back to Chalkline Crime and today's educational video.
Before we get started, we ask if you enjoy our content to please like and subscribe, as it greatly helps us grow this channel. And don't forget to jingle that bell icon to get notified anytime we drop a new video. Chalkline Crime releases new videos every week. Thank you for your support. Now, without further ado, the murder of Sarah Stern, a Chalkline Crime deep dive. Have you ever pondered the depths of human deceit? The story of Sarah Stern's murder is a chilling testament to this. In the heart of Neptune City, New Jersey, life was teeming with promise and youthful exuberance. Among the many faces that made up this bustling community was Sarah Stern, a vibrant 19-year-old artist. Sarah was known for her radiant spirit, her infectious laughter, and the art she created, a true reflection of her soul. Her life was a canvas, painted with the colors of hope and dreams. But in December of 2016, that canvas was abruptly left blank. Sarah Stern disappeared. She vanished without a trace, leaving behind a community in shock and a mystery that would soon grip the nation.
You put me out with New Jersey registration Whiskey Alpha 337 Sierra. You started tow out.
Where is he Tuesday?
Negative, I'm okay. Can you see if we have any contact info for the R-Route? Just try giving him a phone call before the tow gets.
54.
Her car was found abandoned on a bridge, its doors ajar, keys still in the ignition, but Sarah was nowhere to be found. The circumstances were eerie, the setting desolate, and the only conclusion that could be drawn was that of suicide. The authorities scoured the area, the community rallied, and search parties were sent far and wide. Yet Sarah remained missing. The bridge, the abandoned car, they painted a grim picture, one that suggested that Sarah Stern had taken her own life. But as the days turned into weeks and weeks into months, the case of Sarah Stern's disappearance refused to fade into the background. There was something about it, something that didn't quite add up. And as the investigators delved deeper, they found themselves entangled in a web of lies and deceit. The mystery of Sarah Stern's disappearance slowly began to reveal itself. And as the layers of this mystery were peeled back, a far more sinister plot was revealed. The story of Sarah Stern was not one of despair leading to suicide, but a chilling tale of betrayal that would shake the very foundations of Neptune City and leave an indelible mark on all those who knew her. As investigators delved into the case, they found themselves in a web of deceit and betrayal. The probe into Sarah Stern's disappearance led them to two individuals who were close to her, her childhood friends, Liam McAtasney and Preston Taylor. Their initial interactions with the police didn't raise any immediate red flags. Both young men were cooperative, providing information about their last interactions with Sarah. However, as the investigation progressed, inconsistencies began to surface in their stories. McAtasney, in particular, seemed to recall details that were at odds with those provided by other acquaintances of Sarah. His claims about her wanting to run away and start a new life didn't sit well with those who knew her best. Sarah had plans, dreams, ambitions. Simply vanishing without a trace didn't fit her character. Meanwhile, Taylor, who had been Sarah's date to the junior prom, came under increasing scrutiny. His account of the events leading up to Sarah's disappearance was inconsistent and appeared evasive. The investigators started to suspect that he knew more than he was letting on. The turning point in the case came when Taylor, perhaps overwhelmed by the pressure, began cooperating with the police. He confessed to having been involved in the crime, but claimed that it was McAtasney who had masterminded the whole thing. In a shocking twist, Taylor admitted to helping McAtasney dispose of Sarah's body after McAtasney had strangled her. The motive, he claimed, was robbery. They believed Sarah had come into a large sum of money, and they wanted it for themselves. This admission was a game changer. The investigation, which had started as a missing person case, had now become a murder investigation. The childhood friends, once seen as harmless, were now prime suspects in a horrific crime. Taylor's confession would lead investigators down a path darker than they could ever have imagined. As the web of deceit unraveled, the true horror of what had transpired began to emerge, revealing a story of greed, betrayal, and cold-blooded murder. The confession of Preston Taylor would send shivers down the spine of even the most seasoned detective. Preston Taylor, a former classmate and friend of Sarah Stern, sat in a small, barren room across from seasoned investigators. The words that came from his mouth were horrifying, a shocking revelation of betrayal and cold-blooded murder. Taylor confessed to his involvement in Stern's murder, a plot he and his friend Liam McAtasney had concocted. The motive behind the murder was not fueled by rage, jealousy, or a twisted love triangle as one might expect from such young individuals. No, it was fueled by sheer greed. A sum of $10,000, a small fortune for the young men, was the price tag they put on their friend's life. McAtasney had strangled Stern in her home, and Taylor was waiting nearby to help dispose of the body. The two had crafted a gruesome plan, one that involved disposing of Stern's body in a way that would make it nearly impossible for authorities to find. They drove Stern's car to the Route 35 bridge, a towering structure that overlooked the dark, cold waters of the Shark River. With a strength fueled by adrenaline and desperation, they hoisted Stern's lifeless body over the railing and let her fall into the icy depths below. The stark reality of their actions was chilling. These young men, barely out of high school, were willing to take a life and destroy a family for a mere sum of money. They had committed an act so heinous, so unthinkable, that it was difficult to comprehend. They had betrayed their friend, participated in a horrific act of violence, and then coldly disposed of her body as if she were nothing more than an obstacle in their path. What made this confession so disturbing was not just the act itself, but the calm, matter-of-fact way in which Taylor described their actions. The lack of remorse, the absence of guilt. It was as if they were discussing a mundane event, not the brutal murder of a friend. A chilling plot, executed by those who Sarah Stern called friends. In a courtroom packed with anticipation, the fate of Liam McAtasney and Preston Taylor was about to be decided. The atmosphere was thick with tension, as if the very walls were holding their breath. This was not just another trial. It was a quest for justice, a fight for truth. The trial proceedings unfolded like a suspenseful drama, with shocking revelations at every turn. Central to the prosecution's case was a chilling video, a dark testament of McAtasney's confession to the murder. In it, he detailed the horrific act with a chilling nonchalance, as if recounting an ordinary day. The courtroom fell into a stunned silence as the video played, the stark reality of Stern's last moments laying bare the monstrous act committed by someone she'd considered a friend. But it wasn't just the cold, hard evidence that shook those present. The emotional testimonies from Stern's family members painted a heartbreaking picture of a life cut tragically short. Their words echoed in the courtroom, a poignant reminder of the vibrant young woman whose laughter would never again fill their home. The defense, however, had a different story to tell. They argued that the confession was coerced, a fabrication born out of fear and manipulation. They painted McAtasney and Taylor as victims of their circumstances, mere pawns caught in a web of deceit. It was a desperate attempt to sway the jury, to cast a shadow of doubt over the damning evidence. Yet, as the trial reached its climax, it became increasingly clear that the defense's argument was falling on skeptical ears. The jury, having weighed the evidence and testimonies, returned with their verdict: guilty. McAtasney and Taylor were convicted for their heinous crime.
Sentencing in the matter of State of New Jersey versus Liam McAtasney. Mr. McAtasney is now 21 years old. He lived in Neptune City. Everyone essentially in almost all of the family members that testified came from this small community of Neptune City. They all knew each other. That's what makes this really a heinous event, that these were two people, meaning Sarah and Liam, that knew each other since, I believe, grammar school. So on count one, murder in the first degree, it's life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Count two is robbery in the first degree. This sentence will run concurrently, meaning at the same time. It's 20 years New Jersey State Prison. And count five, desecrating human remains, is second degrees. That's 10 years consecutive to the other counts, to count one especially.
He took Sarah's lifeless body, moved it not once, not twice, but 3 times, and dumped it into the Shark River. The pain and turmoil this case has had locally and nationally, overwhelming. Right and wrong, it was wrong. Evil, pure evil. No character, no words can be said to anybody that does anything like this to somebody's child.
As we know, prior to the sentencing, that Mr. Taylor lived with Liam McAtasney in Neptune City, in this small community where everyone, or for the most part, everyone knows each other. They clearly knew Sarah, knew Mr. Stern, knew the family. All these families know each other. This is really an unfortunate situation. This is the end of a long road for over 2 years for everyone involved. Clearly, Preston had the opportunity to stop this at many occasions. In the interest of justice, I'm going to post the following recommended sentence. And we will start with the count 2 robbery, first degree. I'm going to sentence Preston Taylor to 18 years in the Monmouth County in the state prison, and that's subject to the No Early Release Act, meaning he will have to serve at least 15 years before becoming, I think it's 15 years and 15 years and 3 months approximately before becoming eligible for parole.
Preston Taylor was just sentenced to 18 years imprisonment for the counts that he was convicted of, to which he pleaded guilty. As was pointed out by the court, he cooperated with the state, a cooperation that the prosecution team, in particular myself, felt was necessary in order to be able to prove the case against the killer, in this case, Liam McAtasney.
I have one thing to say. Justice for Sarah, finally. It took a long time. It was difficult. The sleepless nights are the worst. I don't know if I'll ever get any rest, but at least this portion of the Sarah's murder is over, and we have justice for Sarah. It doesn't bring Sarah back. We want to keep her memory alive. We started some scholarship funds. We're going to continue to do that. We hope it'll grow. We want people in arts and media to be able to remember Sarah, and we want to be able to help them with that.
You'll go home after this, presumably. What will you do tonight?
I don't know. I may sleep.
For the first time?
First time.
Their faces etched with the grim realization of their fate. Justice, it seems, had a grim tale to tell. The verdict brought closure, but the echoes of this heinous crime lingered. As the gavel struck down, sealing the fate of McAtasney and Taylor, a hushed silence fell over the courtroom. McAtasney, the mastermind behind the murder of young Sarah Stern, was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Taylor, his accomplice, received a lesser sentence of 18 years, a stark contrast to the life he had helped to extinguish. The impact of the sentencing was palpable. Stern's family, their faces etched with grief, found some semblance of justice in the verdict. Their relief was tinged with sorrow, a bittersweet reminder that nothing could bring back their beloved Sarah. In the close-knit community of Neptune City, New Jersey, the verdict stirred a myriad of emotions. Shock and disbelief turned to anger and then slowly acceptance. The town mourned as one, the tragedy binding them together in their shared grief. The case of Sarah Stern's murder had a profound effect on the community. It served as a stark reminder of the depths of human deceit, of how trust can be shattered in an instant, and of the darkness that can lurk in the most unexpected places. It was a wake-up call, a reminder that evil does not always come in the form we expect. The legacy of Sarah Stern lived on, not just in the hearts of her family and friends, but in the town itself. Her story became a chilling cautionary tale, a stark warning of the dangers that can hide behind familiar faces. The memory of Sarah, a young woman full of life and potential, became a beacon of hope, a call for kindness and empathy in a world often marred by cruelty. The aftermath of the trial was a time of reflection and healing. The community came together to support one another, to remember Sarah, and to ensure that such a tragedy would never occur again. It was a time of change, of growth, and of a renewed commitment to justice and community. At the time of this video's release, Sarah Stern's body has still not been recovered, robbing her family of the closure they desperately need. In the end, the story of Sarah Stern's murder is a chilling testament to the darkness that can lurk in the most unexpected places. As always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more great videos like this. Till next time, my friends, keep your enemies close and your friends even closer, as you never truly know someone's true intentions. Chalk line crime. Our next story begins where the chalk line ends. Over and out.